here I am, minding my own affair, and somebody sends me an email and says, I don't know if you saw this, Prof, but Gary's there ranting about you. And I go to this video and I watch, not all of it, but I watch a little bit of Gary puff his cigarette and rant and peacock around as if he's selling more attitude than substance of his argument. And then I post this video called Get a Clue, Gary, and I'm somewhat being funny and somewhat being like, come on, man, let's have a serious discussion about it. And I get then the most views I've ever had on a video, most comments I've ever had on a video, and it couldn't be more of a clear case of why I'm pretty sure many people who do think and are concerned and are careful really don't like YouTube. It makes me like YouTube less and less. It makes me very, very less inclined to want to participate. And it's on many fronts. I mean, not only is it, and it's ambiguous because I don't feel like I have the adequate time to sufficiently respond to all of the different comments. I don't have all the time to do that. Or if I do, I'd have to take things away from other things that I'm currently doing in my life outside of the YouTube culture. I think it's ambiguous. Or I could be exhausted from staying up all night responding to each person with their comment. I did want to say one thing here, and this is the one that I guess I would really like to focus on. Here's a person says, why are religious apologists using you as cover? I think academia gives you the false impression that people have gone beyond the religion problem and now they just need to have more sophisticated outlook. But when you look at America as a whole, it is dogmatic religion that dominates our culture and politics. Why play with religion as if it were a toy and not confront it like the cultural bully that it is? We need you to use your intellectual gun on the biggest dogmatic obstacle in America. That's what this person writes. See, now this, to me, is an interesting statement. There's a lot there. Do I agree with that statement? It's tough. In some ways, I really do. I think that religious dogma and the cult of Christianity and the fear of death and the death fear cult has become the dominant regime of a scared little animal. That much I would agree with. But this other claim in there that this is sort of what dominates U.S. culture and the biggest obstacle, from my sensibility, no. I think part of the problem is that most people don't know what their own best self-interest is, and when they do, they still don't act upon that. There are tons of people who oppress themselves. Here's a question that I have for this person here, come through the fitty, I guess come through fitty, I'm not sure what that person's title is there. For this person, I think the question is, how many people do you think, and let's be honest here, how many people want to get themselves to do great things with their lives, but they can't get themselves to do it? How many people are going to valorize and make a big deal out of their freedom and their individuality and their right to do whatever they want to do, but deep down, they're enslaved to their moment-by-moment self-indulgence. It's one moment after one moment of infantile, right? It's an infantilized existence. I think many people suffer from a lack of self-discipline, a lack of courage, a lack of wherewithal. Tons of people seem to think that they're going to be happy with their lives by being a well-fed, comfortable animal. I don't buy it. I think that's the most, from my perspective, one of the most oppressive regimes in society. It's not something that comes over against you. It's not top-down. We could say that in a lot of cultures. I think there's a lot of places in the world where there is serious power exerted upon people and people are dominated. In the U.S., mainstream culture, at least those people who are outside of economic poverty, I mean, those people who are at least middle-class America, for the most part, they're oppressed by their own ideology in self-pandering, self-indulgence, and the individual. Those, to me, from my perspective, those seem much more worthy things to be concerned with. And if you say, no, it's actually religious dogma, maybe we're just in different circles. I don't know. I mean, it really could be that. I see tons of people who have abundant resources. They just have the world as their oyster, but they don't know how to get themselves going. They're too busy farting around, goofing off online. They're playing games. They're worried about their fashion. They're worried about having the latest gadget that they can whip out and play with in a public place. It's an absolute stream of self-indulgence, and I think a lot of people who have, I guess they've been taken advantage of by the ambiguity of those wily advertisers who have convinced them and the world that everything is a product that can be bought. It's not. Not only are there lots of experiences where it's what you give to the experience, not what you get. That's the critical issue, and we could give countless of that if people want to think about that. But the more important point is that there are many experiences that you will only have if you're worthy of them, or you're able to earn them, or you're able to meet them at their level. Now, you can't just buy an understanding of Heidegger. We're not going to give you a Kant book and have you just buy an understanding of it. You're not just going to want to buy an appreciation of a Monet painting, a Mozart when you hear a great piece of music, you don't get to just buy the appreciation. There are some things that people will have to cultivate themselves into. Playing a musical instrument. You give somebody a violin, go, here, have the violin, now play. Well, the person can play, it's going to sound probably very bad unless they take the time to discipline themselves. See, I think, again, one of the major dogmatic problems in U.S. culture, in America, is the notion of freedom. I think tons of people only understand freedom from. They think freedom from constraint and freedom to do their own thing, but they don't see the freedom to do great things, accomplish things that require self-discipline, and how much constraint that takes. If I hand someone 5 balls and I say, here, juggle those 5 balls, well, they're free to do that, but it will take a great amount of self-discipline and self-mastery in order to pull that off. I wonder why this message, my guess is tons of people have already stopped watching this, why this message isn't as popular as Gary's message. Gary's message and all of these messages which want to make some boogeyman over there and do a lot of finger pointing, and those people who are sticking it to you, and those oppressors who you get to with cocky rebellion smoke a cigarette and wave your hair, should I let my hair down, I'd be real freaky, and I'll go, ooh yeah, look at me, man, I'm sticking it to that person who's trying to tell me what's what. This kind of logic, again, it's a very capitalist logic. It's the same logic as the person who goes to the all you can eat buffet and thinks they're sticking it to someone by eating more than their money's worth, even though they're chewing an early grave with their teeth. This is the same person who thinks that by going to school and dragging their feet and doing less than the required work and not doing the reading but still getting a good grade or getting a passing grade, or not really that different of a grade from somebody who really studied hard, they're somehow sticking it to someone. They're playing games with themselves. I think the notion of freedom and self-oppression, how many people are unable to get their own lives together, and that's not a fun message to sell to people. You know why? Because you don't get to point the finger anywhere else, and a lot of people, they don't know what to do with that problem. You know why? Because that problem is, as Thayer would say, most people prefer problems they just can't solve to solutions they just don't like.